Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check today's episode out. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about a couple of the most important things to consider during summer bass fishing, as far as triggering strikes, sort of a little bit about the mood and the personality of the fish. And if you adopt these 2 or 3 things that I'm thinking about, I think it's going to be a lot more successful summer for you guys over the next couple months there. Also, guys, before we get started, just a quick reminder. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday, but we just introduced a new color of jig on my Blaukat Throwback jig, black with blue tinsel. They've got a limited run on these guys. They're not available at Tackle Warehouse yet, but you can get them at the Cumberland Pro Lures website. So I'll put that link in the description of the video. We should have them in Tackle Warehouse here pretty soon, so I'll let you guys know when that happens. And also, guys, just like to invite everybody to, along with summer, to please check out my summer Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns, guys. If you're struggling for the summer months, this will be a great resource for you guys to get some good spots on your favorite lake over the summer. I'll put my Fish the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description if you guys like to order a map, so really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things about it, I love fishing in the summertime, and you know why? Is because I hate fishing in the cold weather, and I have to do it a lot. You know, I do a lot of on the water lessons in the wintertime. I fished in the cold weather my whole life. For somebody that does not like to fish in the cold weather, I'm in the cold weather all the time fishing, and I don't like it at all. To me, there's nothing worse than getting out of your warm truck and getting into 25-degree weather to go fishing. So I love getting out there in the morning in the summertime with shorts and a t-shirt and being completely comfortable running down the lake. I don't know why people have such a problem with the heat. All you have to do is jump in the lake and you can cool off. It's super hard to warm up in the wintertime if you get cold. So easy in the summertime, man. Just jump in the lake, get back out, and just do it 3 or 4 times during the day and you'll be fine. So anyway, back to the thing as far as, things to remember during the summertime. Here's a couple things that you really need to take in consideration. Number 1 is your lure size. You will find there's a progression during the summertime in the months of June, July, and August where the bass will slowly start to prefer a smaller size lure. It's like in June, they'll bite decent, pretty good size lures like big crankbaits and, big worms, full size jigs and, swim baits and glide baits. But as you get into July and August, and specifically into August, you'll notice the bass don't like those big lures as much, and you have to downsize. So as the summer goes on, my lure size goes on. My crankbaits get progressively smaller. Instead of flipping and pitching like a full-size jig or a big creature bait, I'm going to like flipping and pitching downsized smaller jigs or smaller creature baits, worms, that type of thing. Top water's the same way. It's like I usually go from like a big walking bait in June down to like a little chugger or something, by August, and just down the line. So definitely, as the months go by, reduce your lure size. That's going to be a big thing. The next thing with summertime fishing is speed to retrieve. Speed to retrieve is critical for summertime fishing. And there are very few lures in the summertime that are productive that you fish slow. Most of the success you're going to have in the summertime is going to be on your faster moving lures, especially if you're fishing shallow water. Not so much if you're fishing deeper water. You can still catch them like dragging a football head jig or a drop shot or something like that. But when you're targeting bass that are in like less than 10 foot of water in the summertime, the best way to catch those bass usually are by triggering reaction strikes from crankbaits, spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, topwaters, whatever. And you're going to find, again, as the summer progresses and that water gets warmer, especially if the water in your area gets above 80 degrees, they want a medium fast or a fast stop and go retrieve. That's going to trigger those shallow fish. For example, if you and I go fishing, anywhere here in my part of the country, say in July or August, and we're both throwing crankbaits. If you get out there and you throw just like you're throwing a crankbait and you're just reeling it at a slow medium retrieve, you're not going to catch hardly nothing. But if you fish it at as like a medium fast retrieve, the success you have is going to go way up. And that's the same if you're fishing like something on the bottom, I always like to try to hop it higher off the bottom to sort of generate that reaction strike with that. Next with that, guys, is time of day. I've talked about this a little bit before. There's sort of this big myth in fishing that in the summertime you need to get out there early in the morning. That's not true. Out of all the summer fishing I do, I always do better in the middle of the day. Sort of that 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock period is just when I catch more fish. I don't care if I'm fishing deep. I don't care if I'm fishing shallow. It doesn't really matter. That is the time to do it. And obviously in the summertime, guys, it's better. Night fishing is going to be better, simply because those fish are shallower and more active. But when you're talking about the bass positioning during daylight hours, the summertime, it's going to be definitely better, up in the daytime. Another thing you're going to find out with summer is your fishing is always going to be better during the week, because on the weekend in the summer, the lakes are getting more recreational traffic and more noise than any other time of the year. Bass react to that, and they're aware of that, and they shut down the same way as if like a bad cold front would go through. It's like bass have evolved to do that. It's like everybody knows that, like, when a bad cold front goes through, it's usually some tough fishing the next day or two after. It's the same way when a bass starts hearing those jet skis running around on the lake and those wave boats, those wake boats, increased pontoon boat traffic. That noise, you can imagine on some of those lakes, it sounds like a dang washing machine in there. And a bass will become inactive, and they won't bite near as good on the weekend as they during the week. So if you have a chance, try to get out there and try to fish, during the week if possible. But if you do have to fish on the weekend, one of the things that's going to help you a lot is to downsize your lures. I have always done better on the weekend in the summertime of the year. If you go to small baits, especially like a small crankbait or something, it's going to be, a lot better for that. And finally, guys, one other thing here is make repetitive casts to the same piece of cover. If you're fishing any type of target, I don't care if it's a boat dock or if it's a log in the water or the edge of a grass bed, or you're flipping to some lily pads or cattails or whatever, don't just make one or two casts in there and call it good. Summertime fishing requires lots of multiple casts to certain pieces of cover and from different angles, especially if the cover is isolated. So let me give you a perfect example. If you're fishing down the bank and you see a nice lay down tree in the water, or you see a boat dock or a log in the water, when you approach that piece of cover in the summertime, make at least 20 or 30 casts to it. And even better, try to make those 20 or 30 casts from different angles with your boat. Bass, they get a little bit dormant in the summertime of the year because the oxygen levels are a little lower, and sometimes those multiple presentations from different angles with different speeds of retrieve will help trigger that strike. So anyway, guys, that's just a few tips for summer fishing. I hope it helps you guys out, and we'll check in later.